Chapter 19. The next afternoon, Vivi sat in her office, pretending to make lecture notes. In truth, she was staring at the blinking cursor on her computer and thinking about kissing Reese while also wishing she'd never brought him to her office. This was her space, a very decidedly Reese Penhallow-free space, and now every time she looked at her bookshelf, she saw him standing there, studying her books, asking her questions, actually seeming interested in her answers. What a bastard. But then every time she thought about kissing him, she remembered what had ended that kiss, the ghost in the library, and how she was so sure she'd seen that face somewhere before. How the ghost had so clearly been looking for something, and how it all had to be related to the curse somehow. But how? So really, it was no wonder that her lecture on the function of the feudal system consisted of exactly 2 bullet points, one of which just said, peasants. Shaking her head, Vivi leaned over her desk and flipped the switch on her electric kettle, hoping a strong cup of tea might get her head straight. Gwyn and Aunt Elaine had given her thit horpink kettle last Yule, and she loved it, but loved the tea they and wrapped with it even more. It was one of Aunt Elaine's owl blends, and it tasted like mint and licorice and something a light tell smoky, while also having enough caffeine to power her through even the most heinous grading sessions. She'd just made herself a cup when there was a knock at her office door. Brains still foggy with thoughts of Reese, she almost expected to see him standing there, or leaning, really. Reese never stood when he could lean, but the woman in her doorway was definitely not Reese, and also standing straighter than Vivi had ever seen someone stand, she was pretty sure. The woman was young, probably Vivi's own age, and had dark hair caught back from her face with a pair of combs. "Vivian Jones?" the woman asked, her expression friendly, dimples appearing in her cheeks as she smiled. "I'm Amanda Carter." She stepped into Vivi's office, shutting the door behind her. "From the witchery department." Vivi's spoon clanged against the side of her mug. "Seriously?" she asked. Amanda couldn't have been 30, making her easily the youngest witch Vivi had ever heard of the witchery department hiring. And she was wearing jeans. Did they let them wear jeans on the witchery side of things? Because if so, Vivi wondered if maybe she should transfer after all. "Did Dr. Arbuthnot send you?" she asked, and Amanda nodded. "She did, yeah. About the whole ghost thing. Excellent." Gesturing at the chair in front of her desk, Vivi said, "Please have a seat." "Tea?" Raising her chin ever so slightly, Amanda sniffed the air. "Is that one of your aunt's blends?" Surprised, Vivi smiled a little, moving to the box of tea leaves on the corner of her desk. "It is. She sells it at the store, but this one is particularly good, I think." "Awesome," Amanda enthused, and Vivi felt her mood lift. Someone from the witch college who said awesome and wore jeans. Who knew? She made Amanda a cup of tea and handed it over as the other woman asked, "How long have you worked here?" Vivi blew across the surface of her tea before answering. 3 years. "You? A few months?" Amanda grinned at her, still finding my feet. "I bet," Vivi said, and then Amanda reached down toward the bag that sat at her feet. "So as you know, the ghost of Piper McBride is running loose." "Right," Vivi said, remembering the ghost in her flannel and Converse, pacing the shelves. "Sorry about that." Amanda gave her another easy smile, waving a hand. "Hey, shit happens." And from what they've told me, Piper was a real mess back in the day. Obsessed with some history of the town, trying to summon spirits, ... Vivi frowned. Dr. Arbuthnot had told her Piper had been involved in dark magic, but she hadn't known it was a summoning. That was a whole different ballgame. No wonder she'd ended up dead. "Anyway, we bound her, but obviously she's unbound now, so the trick is to capture her again," Amanda continued. "How do we do that?" Sitting back in her chair, Amanda pulled a candle from her bag. "How do you feel about haunted houses?"